surged into the spotlight in these closing days before the 2024 election. But now, because of those comments, two things have grabbed our attention. The first is the prospect of Donald Trump facing criminal charges in Arizona, and the second are the implications for Donald Trump's ongoing prosecutions right now. So I want to start with the second one first. What are the implications based on these comments that he made with the terms of his release in his ongoing prosecutions?
Yeah, Brian, Donald Trump could be in trouble in two separate ways in his criminal cases. Remember, he has multiple criminal cases that are active, cases in which he is a criminal defendant. He is on pretrial release in two cases. He is on pre-sentencing release in his criminal convictions up in New York. And here is how these new threats against Liz Cheney could come into play in those criminal cases, actually in two separate ways. First of all, if he committed a new crime, and we have already heard that the Attorney General in Arizona has opened a criminal probe into these threats to determine whether he in fact committed a new crime. If Donald Trump committed a new crime, then he should, if we apply the rule of law as it was intended to be applied, he should be revoked on pretrial release in the multiple cases in which he's on pretrial release. He should also be revoked on pre-sentence release in New York. Why? Because the conditions of his pretrial and pre-sentence release include that he must not commit any state, federal, or local crime. If this satisfies the elements of threats under Arizona state law, well, then he has inarguably committed a state crime. That means judges should revoke him and should detain him pending trial and pending sentencing. That's one way. Here's the other way. When you are on release in a criminal case, if there is evidence, clear and convincing evidence, that's the standard, that your conduct poses a threat to the community or even one person in the community, then frankly, even if you didn't technically speaking commit a new crime, federal, state, or local, you should still be revoked on release and detained, jailed, pending either trial or sentencing. So this could come into play in two different ways, and it could result in Donald Trump being locked up in his criminal cases while those cases proceed through the system. Now, does anybody expect that will happen before the election? I think it unlikely, because we already know that for whatever reason, the law enforcement authorities are not interested in applying the law to Donald Trump the way it would apply to you, me, and every one of our viewers. I can promise them all. But here's what I am hopeful we will see happen, Brian. I am hopeful that as soon as Kamala Harris is declared the victor in the upcoming election, prosecutors and courts will issue what are called show cause orders, directing Donald Trump and his lawyers to show cause why he should not be revoked on release in his cases based on these threats against Liz Cheney.
Moving over